beautiful LS engine, twin turbo.
Daily dry sump. It's a LS3 top end with 80 millimeter turbos. So,
Okay.
hydraulic cam lifters.
Okay. That's gonna kind of limit the how high you can go, but
yeah,
that should be good to go up, maybe up to 8 at least.
It's got a Allen Pope transmission in it.
Okay.
With the 3-speed.
3-speed. Okay.
With a Sonex smart drum in it, so there shouldn't be a big dip on the 2-3 shift. It's got a 411 gear in it.
Nice, nice. Okay, injector.
We're running 21 FIC 2150.
All 16?
Yeah, all 16 of them.
Okay.
Yep.
Nice. What fuel?
M1.
M1. Okay.
Yep. They're Brodex. Just they're LS3. So what he's doing is on my Burnout. I'm not going to go to the moon. It was set up before 8800, and I would go to the moon with my Burnout there, and there's no need for it. You know, you usually get squirrely out there at the end of your Burnout.
You just need to remember to turn it on and turn it off. Burnout mode, it has a way that you turn the ECU with the Burnout activated.
Okay.
So you can do the burnout. As soon the RPM goes down, it will automatically disable the burnout mode.
Okay.
But just in case, you should have still the button on the screen so you can actually see it if it's on or it's off. So I will take something out from here. Let me take TPS and do burnout.
So for burnout mode, if you don't go up there and hit the limiter, it won't automatically turn off. You have to hit the chip.
Okay.
And then it'll automatically turn off.
Okay.
Always it's important to put some temperature not only on the engine, also on the transmission. So after this warm up, shut it off, wait till transmission take some of the heat on, and after that we're gonna do a spool test only with the trans brake on, make sure that the engine runs in spools, and after that we unhook the trans brake and we do the run from the two-step but without the trans brake. Because what happened is that if you do the two-step with the trans brake on the dyno, wheels are gonna be stopped completely. Once you release the two-step, the wheels will start turning, and then the dyno is gonna see it. Oh, the wheels are turning. I need to slow it down because we do a ramp of acceleration, and then the dyno will grab it. We'll try to stop it. When the dyno tries to stop it, something maybe give up. And many times it's transmission or drive shaft, because the dyno is able to handle 6,000 horsepower. We have tested already. So if you try to do that, something may break. So we launch the car without the transfer. But at the same time, it's the two-step, everything will feel exactly the same thing. Just the wheels are gonna be turning very slow already. Okay, after we finish the update, let's do checking timing, checking fuel pressure. Let's go step by step. Make sure that everything looks fine. All the way to the end. 90 pounds idling, so oil pressure was fine. EGTs, all of them were working. I'm looking just at the numbers here. All of them were showing something. AFR, as you can see here, was around changing barely between 5, 4.6, 4.4 AFR. It may be slightly rich, but it is what it is. Sometimes you need to keep it rich in order to keep it cool it down. We could take some fuel out, obviously, if you need it, but in this case, it won't. We can see also injectors, for example, are at 1.2 milliseconds. So they are opening 1.7%. So that's it. You won't go much leaner than that if you want. Remember, it's about 500 pounds per hour per cylinder. So, and other than that, there's not too much to check here. I want to show you the map. Fuel table, main fuel table. We got, let me switch to pounds per hour so you can see the amount of fuel that we got in here. At 0 boost, no boost, we have around, let me get rid of the graph so you can see it bigger. 800 pounds per hour of fuel. Around, actually the highest number, it's around 7,000. That is around where this engine is gonna make peak power. After revving, after 7,000, numbers go lower because the engine will start losing power. These engines are not so efficient when they keep revving. That's why the graph looks like that. This is a normal graph for a big engine like this. It will make a lot of power and then we'll start dropping power. So the fuel table should look like that also. Peak power here said then it's gonna be around 8,000 or 7,500 RPM. We got almost 1,200 pounds per hour of fuel. It's alcohol, M1. If you do a brake specific table that you see, the recommendation is between 1.6 and I believe up to 2. So right now this is using about 2 brake specific, that is the richest that you can go. We have enough fuel to feed about 600 horsepower for our NA engine. It's a very good engine, so it could make that easily. Once we go to 15 pounds, we got 25 to almost 2,600 pounds per hour of fuel. Again, divided by 2, brake specific, we have about 1,300 horsepower, or we have enough fuel for 1,300, double the power that we were having with our engine NA. And I think that right now we are gonna run the engine between 15 and 20 pounds of boost, depending on which wastegate pressure spring we have. I don't know what it is. So we got around 3,000 pounds per hour of fuel, or enough fuel to feed about 1,500 horsepower. So it should be rich enough. If we go up to 30 pounds of boost, I can see that we got around almost 4,000 pounds per hour, enough for about 2,000 horsepower. So technically speaking, we have the right fueling. It should be safe. I don't know, we don't know yet how good the engine is gonna be. If it makes less power than that, it's gonna be lean. Sorry, it's gonna be rich. If it makes more power than that, with that boost, it's gonna be lean. But it's not gonna be, we are not gonna be missing for too much. This engine is not gonna make double the power that we are estimating, right? It's not too big of an engine.
It's like, if you're estimating 2,000, maybe 2,200-ish, you know, it's just very efficient. So your math and everything is going to be pretty close. You know, you're not going to be way out, you know, left field with this. Like it's going to be close.
O2's target at 15, 20 pounds, where we're going to be running is low 4s AFR. It's about good enough. Once we go higher in boost, like a 30 pounds of boost, we have like a 3.7 AFR, alcohol AFR. That will be around low 60s on Lambda. So it's very rich for sure. I don't know yet. We don't know yet if this engine will like to run that rich, or we want to run even more rich than that, depending on how efficient the engine is. That spark plugs. It's the only thing that will tell you exactly if that number is the one that the engine wants or not. Well, this engine we're gonna work some through change plugs for sure, but we will have to do it at some point. Probably after the first full run, we will do that. And closed loop limit, we allow the ECU to add 10% of fuel or take only 5. If the O2 sensors show something wrong, I don't want to allow the ECU to take fuel out, to lean it out, because to me, my numbers on the fuel map looks about right. I shouldn't allow the ECU to take fuel out. That's why we're gonna make a short run. If the O2 shows that it's too rich, we may confirm that just by looking the plugs and say, yeah, it is lean. We will take the fuel out. Allowing the ECU to do it is dangerous. So always trim it down those numbers. At some point, by the end of the day, probably we will always keep the -5%, but the +10, we will also shrink it down. Because if there is something wrong on the sensor can also add a lot of fuel. But if the ECU adds fuel because of a wrong sensor, nothing happens. The car is gonna be just running rich, and it's gonna be maybe slower going down the track. But if you shrink it down and those sensors goes bad, nothing happens because your fuel table is right. Yeah, I didn't saw that. 3-step. Now, the function itself was adding 5%. We don't need that. On some cars, you need to add fuel on the function. Rotary cars, for example, you need to take fuel during the 3-step. It need to be negative, like -20. Some cars it likes more, some cars like less. And actually, I'm gonna do the same thing on the 2-step. 2-step is 0, so just the 3-step was adding 5% of fuel. With those changes, I think it's gonna be enough. So again, user mistake. Always pay attention to little details. And again, we set it up progressive nitros as the dump valve. So we turn them on by time. After the leave, dumps are gonna be on up to 2 seconds, and then they will go off. You can also see it on the graph. And I missed the checkbox to keep it on the 3-step before the run. Spring and was open already. So we put 10, 12 more pounds of CO2 pressure on the wastegate, and that was enough to build pressure. But now I let go earlier because it shift 2, 3. The gear shift output time between gears was too fast. I need to give it more time between gear change. Other than that, let's see how fuel looks, and now the fun begins. At the end of the run was 3.8 both sides. 3.8 for 16 pounds of boost. It's very rich, essentially. You need to think that in lambda value that should be almost 50s already. It's too rich for sure. Now is where we can start trimming some fuel out, the first thing that I want to see is that first to second gear actually did the gear change at 8200 almost. So I didn't saw any drop on power, so it seems that I actually like it. So I can probably drop the gear change RPM 100 RPM, 1 to 2. 2, 3, it did a 79, almost 8, so it's perfect. And other than that, the ECU was taking all the time the 5% fueling that we allow it to do. So what that means, that we could take the whole map section and take at least 5% out, and we still need to take more because the ECU was taking 5 already. So we could take, actually what I'm gonna do on this section here, on the leaf, up to 7400 RPM, I won't touch the fuel. I prefer to leave early in the run rich because it was pretty close, the AFR. Beside that 5%, yeah, let's take that 5% and later on we can know that we should go to 4.2 AFR target instead of being in 3.7. This is where lambda is helpful. If you know the lambda value for the 2, that we could actually take the manual if you want and take a look, we will see that the difference between those two, it's about 7%-ish, a little more maybe, 7-8%, but at the same time it's 7 or 8% plus 5. So what I feel comfortable to do right now is for the next run, we will make sure first take a couple plugs and see, or at this point, since we did a complete run, let's take all of them out, make sure that all the cylinders are good. We are making already 1300 to the wheels. That is more than 1500 crank horsepower. And to confirm that that is rich, and I will take about 10% out for the next run because I know that it is rich. Where I'm gonna take 10% out, again, you can use your fuel table overlay and move through the log, and you will see that on that area, all that area where it was between 14 and 17 pounds of boost, because it was 16 pounds, we should take about that fuel. But I will do it from 7500 RPM and on, and not take too much in the lower RPM section, because I believe that is pretty good. So at 7,000 here, I will take 5 and then about 10 and on. So you see that it's actually majorly on these two cells, but I know that right now it's when our map, by the colors, you can see, you can have an idea that on the curve that we see on the graph, it's actually on the part that is going higher. So what it could be happening is that the peak power of the engine right now, our table, have more fuel at 8,000. So it could be that our engine is making more power slightly later, or it's just that the table is too high. That I believe is just too high. So let's take about 8 to 10%, depending on which section exactly, and do another pass with new plugs.
Sounds
right?
good.
Yes. It happened around here, but it was too early, seems like. So it needs a minimum time, but at the same time, well, let me go to pool number 1. Here we flash up to 6,000 RPM, then we flash up to 7,100, then to 7,400, and now almost to 7,500 RPM. So we are pushing further and further converter, seems like. That's the reason of why I shift early here to 1.2. Actually, we are able to see gear change output. Gear change output is shift about there. So that's why you don't see the shift essentially, because I shift early. I saw that when I was in the car. The 2 to 3, it was better, but it's almost, it's loose. It's a loose converter for sure. Let me see, what is the drive shaft now? I rev it up to 7,600 on high gear, and we have 13% sleep on the converter.
Okay.
That's a lot. So
Right,
that's the reason
right.
why it's making
Right.
only 1,400.
Right.
Right now, it should be making already about 1,600 or 1,700
Right.
with 21 pounds, and we are not getting that to the wheels because of the converter. Essentially, you may need a
Tighten it
one
up.
point tighter. Yeah, I don't know if you got like a different one that you can check or order with the guy that made this one
Right.
and tell him, hey, I need 1 point or 2 points tighter, and maybe change the stator, or I don't know
Right.
exactly what to change
He'll
there.
know what to do.
Yeah,
I sent him the converter.
I could put more boost now, but what's gonna happen? The RPM line
Yeah.
is gonna look flat all the time.
Yeah.
We're not gonna see the gear change anymore.
Yeah. There's
Because we're
no
gonna be
need to-
running through the converter.
Yeah. There's no need to thrash on it.
No.
You see the same exact thing.
Yeah, it's gonna be worse because here the RPM gear change, it didn't drop anything, and the same thing with 2 to 3, it dropped like 300 RPM,
Yeah.
but it's because the converter is leaking.
Right.
So we went from 7,800 to 7,300, so it dropped 500 RPM, but still it should be more than that.
On the 2.3 or the 1.2.
On the 2 to 3, the 1 to 2, it didn't drop anything because
Well, with that Sonex Smart drum in there, it really shouldn't drop much more than that, should it?
it should. I think it should something more. But again, right now this run was 4.4 seconds. So the dyno may be slightly fast,
Yeah.
but other than that, it's almost like a 5-second run to what the car should be running, right?
Right.
But that would be maybe with slightly tighter converter.
Okay.
Now, right now, what's our duty cycle right now? Injector wise, we are 65%. So we still have like
So we still got
a lot of
injector
fuel.
left.
We still have a lot to do. We have 3,100 pounds per hour of fuel. I'm looking on this number.
Yep.
So technically, the engine itself is making more than 1,600 horsepower.
Right.
And I think it is actually more. It's
Right.
just that we don't see the numbers on the dyno because
Right.
of the converter.
Right. Right. Yeah, it makes total sense to me with 13 pounds of.
Again, we can make
13% slip.
another pass with more boost, but the engine RPM is gonna be like flat.
Yeah.
That is perfect for a for a ProCharger,
Right.
because the ProCharger relies on the engine RPM to build
Right,
boost.
right.
So that would be perfect, let's say, but not here.
Right. And that's actually what that converter was for.
I was for the ProCharger,
Yeah.
and again, it's good, but
Yeah.
it's just that I believe it's for an engine that revs slightly higher than this.
Right. Right.
Not for DLS. This
Okay.
LS platform normally they don't feel good higher than 8,000.
Right. Right.
Uh,
I understand completely. So I'll tighten up the converter a little bit.
it will help for sure.
Yeah.
What I would like to see right now is take a look how the plugs will look.
Yeah.
AFR wise looks good. Let me just get rid of everything so we can see it better. O2s looks like flat, perfectly flat. 3.6, 3.5, slightly running richer. ECU also taking 5% almost all the time. But before taking fuel, I would like to see the plugs again. And I don't know if it's worth it to try to do any other run with more boost, because we are gonna run through the converter again.
I don't see no reason to do another
Yeah,
run.
because if the plugs looks
I
good
see
now,
the converter.
exactly. If the plugs
Yeah.
looks good now is
Yeah.
essentially just change the converter and
Right.
send it.
Good to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then keep adding dome pressure or try to
Yeah,
get my 60
yeah,
foot.
to increase the,
Right.
the target there.
Because I think it's capable of 2,000 horsepower is what I was told.
Look, we are making 1,500 right now, almost,
Right.
with
With
20
13.
pounds, 21 pounds of boost.
Right.
22 pounds actually make peak boost.
Yeah.
If you go with 30 pounds, that we are not far from that,
Right.
it will make around 2 with less converter slip.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it will make it, yes, it will make it.
Yeah.
But right now, if we keep adding boost, you will see your engine RPM staying at the rev limiter all the time, and
Yeah. Yeah.
we won't have. What's up, guys? Eduardo from FuelTech. I'm here with Ron and his beautiful Chevy II, 64 Chevy II.
Yep.
With a beautiful LS engine, twin turbo, and a FuelTech FT600 controlling everything here, doing wastegate, pressure control, engine, transmission shifting, and essentially doing everything to have this beautiful car going down the track in no prep, essentially, back of the truck.
Yep. Yep.
So tell me a little more about this construction of the vehicle. You guys came here all the way from pretty far. We are in Georgia here right now, and you bring this car from?
Well, it originally came from Alaska, and we had it stored over in Las Vegas.
Okay.
And we did a motor swap from ProCharge to the LS platform with the twin turbos, and that's a pretty drastic change for me and my knowledge level.
And you actually have been here before with the ProCharger engine.
I was.
That was when? 2 years ago, I think?
It was right at 3 years ago,
3 years?
and we couldn't have been happier with it. We got over 100 runs with 0 issues with any of the FuelTech equipment, and we were able to have fun.
Okay.
We were stumbling before we got here, and stumbling bad. And after you guys got us straightened out, we was able to have fun. And just like I say, is when we did the engine swap, the turbos were not in my wheelhouse, and it was explained real thoroughly and very professionally. I appreciate you guys.
Nice, nice. And it's always nice to have you also with your wife that is always following you and helping you on this. So it's pretty nice to have you guys here again. Hopefully we're gonna see you again, maybe with another combination. Try to go quicker as always. And having fun with this beautiful car that hopefully you are gonna enjoy now with the twin turbo combination. It makes a nice power. Right now we have some converter issues that it's right now with a looser enough converter for a ProCharger, right? That now for the turbo application, maybe we need to go with a different route, but other than that, engine it's perfectly fine. We did several runs with no problems at all. We were also showing to everybody here, to some of the students, also to you, how to do the process of the tuning. And lucky that everything is working perfectly fine, and now it's just enjoy with it and
just go have fun
at the track. Where majorly you're gonna be running?
Probably in the West Coast.
Okay.
Yeah,
majorly.
Arizona, Las Vegas, California.
Nice.
Is mostly where we're gonna be at.
Okay.
So
sounds good. And again, if you need any help from us, everybody knows that they can reach us, and we will be more than glad to help you in anything that you need.
Yeah, when you hit number 2 on the recording, somebody answers nearly every time. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Okay, sounds good. Hope to see you guys next time.